Faith Justice toured the crime lab, spoke with the director. She joins us now live here in the studio. Faith, you got a behind-the-scenes look at the lab, something many people will never get to experience. What stood out to you?
Well, Ryan, frankly, the very first thing you'll notice if you tour the crime lab is the long elevator ride from the first floor of the sheriff's office down to the basement. They cram these forensic scientists into a maze of windowless hallways and rooms full of equipment and test tubes, and it kind of looks like the supplies that you probably used in high school, but a little bit more complicated. And we started our tour in the biology section. 96 DNA samples punched out and processed in about an hour.
So when the saliva hits the card, it actually has a chemical reaction and turns it white. So that's what the instrument is looking for.
Thanks to robotics, preparing all these little test tubes is fast and accurate. And since they're doing it in bulk, scientists don't get attached to one particular case. 10 to 20 years ago, it looked a little bit different. Pipetting everything by hand, one assignment at a time. It was easier to subconsciously develop an opinion on the outcome of an investigation. And that's contrary to the mission of Washoe County Forensic Science. The director of the crime lab says he wants the community to know that his scientists aren't trying to prove someone innocent or guilty. They're just using scientific tools to give objective answers to crime scene questions.
As an example, right, there may be a crime scene and there's a red stain on that crime scene. The question could be, is this blood? And then if it is blood, whose blood is it? Is it a victim's blood, suspect's blood? Is it an unknown?
That type of puzzle might come to the biology section, where scientists can analyze fluid samples. And if the blood came from a bullet wound, investigators might also have a gun to hand over to forensics. That takes the case to the firearms section, where scientists analyze bullet cartridges. A national database allows them to link the same firearm to different crime scenes.
A cartridge discharge, there's a tremendous amount of pressure. The path of least resistance to push a bullet out the barrel, right? But at the same time, it's pushing the cartridge case against the fingerprint of the gun. And that's what leaves those impressions.
One single case can have lots of different pieces of evidence, be it cartridges, bodily fluids, fingerprints, or more. And for that reason, and because forensics is meant to be objective and independent, the scientists here don't think of their work as casework, but simply assignments.
We can have some sections where we receive 10 to 30 assignments a month, other ones where it's upwards of 80 to 100.
That heavy workload isn't just coming from Washoe County.
We provide service for 13 counties in northern and central Nevada, and we provide limited service for one county in central California as well.
In total, over 70 agencies rely on Washoe County's crime lab, and that does mean that backlogs are common. The division director says he takes input from law enforcement to make sure that the right assignments move to the top of the priority list.
We understand that different cases impact different communities differently, and so we try to work with those investigating agencies to help get the results that they need in the time frame that they need them.
Crime Lab Director Stephen Johnson told us that forensic work is important because it supports the judicial process. Obviously, you need evidence if you're going to prove a case. So tomorrow, we're going to take a closer look at that angle. We spoke with the district attorney's office about how forensic work has cracked some of Washoe County's most high-profile cases, and that includes Breonna Dennison's abduction and murder. Covering the big story, Faith Justice, 2 News Nevada.